Football fans thought the biggest drama happened on the pitch: a last minute goal, a penalty shootout, a World Cup final, a nation holding its breath. But in 2015, the world discovered that some of football's biggest battles were not happening inside stadiums. They were happening in luxury hotels, boardrooms, marketing deals, broadcasting contracts, and secret payments. On a quiet morning in Zurich, Switzerland, FIFA officials were gathered before a major FIFA Congress. They were staying at the Bar au Lac, one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. The Swiss police arrived. Officials were arrested, cameras flashed, headlines exploded, and suddenly, the organization that controlled the world's most loved sport was at the center of a global corruption scandal. This was not just one bad decision, it was not just one official, it was not even just about money, it was about power. For decades, FIFA had presented itself as the guardian of football, the organization behind the World Cup, the symbol of the global game, the institution that connected continents, cultures, countries for one sport. But behind the beautiful game, investigators found something darker: bribes, kickbacks, media rights, marketing deals, political loyalty, and a football empire that had grown too powerful to question. So, how did FIFA, the organization behind the world's biggest sporting event, fall into one of the biggest scandals in sports history? And what did the scandal reveal about the game fans love? It's the story about FIFA's corruption scandal, exposed football's dark side. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and comment what you want to see next. To understand the FIFA scandal, you have to understand what FIFA really controls. FIFA is not just an officiate with football administrators. FIFA controls the World Cup, and the World Cup is not just a tournament. It's one of the most powerful sporting events on earth. Every 4 years, the world stops. Billions watch, countries dream, sponsors pay, broadcasters compete, politicians appear, cities build, and players chase immortality. For fans, the World Cup is emotion. It is childhood memories, national pride, family gatherings, flags in the streets, tears after defeat, and joy after victory. But behind that emotion is a massive business: broadcasting rights, sponsorships, marketing contracts, hospitality packages, hosting bids, advertising money, political influence. Football is the people's game, but at the top level, it's a global empire. And FIFA sat at the center of that empire. That kind of power creates temptation, because if you control tournaments, you can control opportunity. If you control voting blocks, you can control leadership. If you control media rights, you control money. And if you control access to the world's biggest sport, people will do almost anything to get close to it. Inside FIFA, power is built through relationships. Confederations mattered, federations mattered, votes mattered, loyalty mattered. President did not serve only by making speeches, he survived by keeping people inside the system satisfied. And over time, critics argued that FIFA had become too close, too political, and too comfortable with its own power. The organization was supposed to serve football, and many began to ask whether football was serving the organization. For years, rumors and accusations followed, questions about bidding, about leadership, money, and why some people seemed untouchable, but FIFA continued. The World Cup still happened, the stadiums were full, sponsors stayed, the fans watched, and that's the power of football. No matter how much people criticize FIFA, they still love the game. Became FIFA's shield. Because fans did not want to abandon football. They wanted to believe that the game was bigger than the people running it, and in many ways it was. But behind the scenes, investigators were beginning to follow the money, and once they did, the empire started to shake. May 2015, Zurich. FIFA officials were preparing for a congress with Sepp Blatter. FIFA's longtime president was expected to continue his leadership. Blatter had been one of the most powerful men in sports for years. He knew FIFA's system, he understood its politics, he had served criticism before, and he had built a leadership style that depended on loyalty across global football. But this time was different, because this time the pressure was not only coming from journalists or fans, it was coming from law enforcement. Swiss police entered the hotel and arrested several FIFA officials at the request of the US authorities. Soon after, the United States Department of Justice announced charges against 9 FIFA officials and 5 corporate executives. The charges included racketeering, conspiracy, and corruption. The case described a system involving bribes and kickbacks connected to media and marketing rights for international football tournaments. To the public, it was shocking. To many people who had followed FIFA closely, it felt like the moment everyone had been waiting for. The whispers had finally become handcuffs. And this was not a scandal hidden in technical language, it was cinematic. Luxury hotel, early morning arrests, powerful officials, global media, the most powerful sport in the world. And beneath it all was one uncomfortable truth. The business of football had become so valuable that corruption could hide inside of it for years. The case did not focus only on FIFA headquarters. It touched officials and business figures across football's regional systems, especially around media rights, marketing deals, and tournament-related money. That mattered because modern football power does not only live in the World Cup final, it lives in contracts. Who gets the rights to sell the tournaments, get the broadcasting access, control sponsorships, benefits from deals fans never see. For fans, a tournament begins when the whistle blows. For executives, it begins years earlier when rights are negotiated and money starts moving. That's where investigators looked, and what they found damaged FIFA's image deeply. The scandal suggested that corruption was not just an accident, it suggested a culture, a way of doing business, a world where the game was public but the deals were private. For FIFA, the timing was disastrous. Arrests happened just before a major presidential election. Despite the scandal, Blatter was re-elected. But the pressure came too great. Only days later, he announced he would step down. It was a stunning fall. For years, Blatter had survived criticism, but now FIFA's crisis was too large to control, and the scandal kept growing. Later in 2015, more officials were charged in an ongoing case. The headlines continued, the questions became louder. Who knew what? How long had this been happening? How much money had moved through the system? How many tournaments and deals had been affected? And how could FIFA ever truly reform itself? For years, FIFA had sold the world dreams. But now investigators were following the money. And the more they followed it, the more football fans were forced to confront a painful reality. The game on the pitch could still be beautiful, but the system around it was not always clean. After the scandal exploded, FIFA had no choice but to promise change. The organization talked about reform, governance change, more transparency, better oversight, and new leadership. A different future. Eventually, Gianni Infantino became FIFA president. The message was clear. FIFA wanted the world to believe it was turning the page, and some things did change. Officials were banned, charged, convicted, and pleaded guilty. Money connected to the corruption case was later recovered and directed towards victims and football-related reinstitution. FIFA tried to rebuild trust, but trust is difficult to repair. Because when an institution loses credibility, people do not simply forget. Every major decision becomes suspicious. Every World Cup vote is questioned. Every sponsor deal is viewed differently. Every leadership speech sounds less innocent. The scandal did not destroy football. That is important. Fans kept watching. Players kept playing. The World Cup remained the World Cup. And the ball rolled. People still cared. That is the strange power of football. The love for the game survives the failures of the people who manage it, and FIFA's image changed forever. Before the scandal, many fans already suspected that football politics could be dirty. And after the scandal, suspicion became part of the conversation. FIFA became a symbol of something bigger than sport, a symbol of how a global institution can become too powerful, too rich, too protected, too distant from the people they claim to serve. And that's what makes the FIFA scandal so important. It was not just about the illegal payments, it was about the gap between football as fans experienced it and football as a business machine. Fancy flags, goals, songs, and tears. Executives see rights, bids, markets, and influence. Both worlds exist at the same time. One is emotional, the other is financial. And when the financial world becomes too powerful, it can corrupt the emotional one. This is the tragedy, because football belongs to everybody. A child playing barefoot in the streets, fans saving money to buy a jersey, a family gathering for a World Cup match, a country dreaming of one magical run. This is the real game. But at the top, football became something else, a product, a marketplace, a political tool, a global business. This FIFA scandal exposed that divide. And even after reforms, one question remained. Can the people who run football ever love the game the same way fans do? Or will football always be vulnerable to those who see it as a path to power or end profits? That is the uncomfortable legacy of the scandal. The arrest ended, the headlines faded, new tournaments came, new presidents spoke, new sponsors arrived, but the question never disappeared. Who really controls football? And can they be trusted? So, what did FIFA's corruption scandal really expose? It exposed that football is not only a game, it's about money, power, politics, television rights, marketing contracts, sponsorship deals, World Cup bids, and influence. For fans, football is simple: a goal, a chance, a badge, a dream. But behind the scenes, the world's most beloved sport became one of the most powerful businesses. And in 2015, that business was shaken. The FIFA scandal did not make people stop loving football. It changed how people looked at the people running it. It reminded fans that the beauty of the game does not guarantee the honesty of institutions. It showed that even the world's most beloved sport can be pulled into corruption when power becomes too concentrated and money becomes too tempting. And maybe that is the lesson. Football survived because football belongs to the people, not to executives, the boardrooms, the marketing companies, officials in luxury hotels. The game belongs to the fans, the players, the streets, the stadiums, and the memories it creates. But the FIFA corruption scandal showed what can happen when the people trusted to protect the game forget that. If you enjoyed the story, like the video, subscribe, and comment below. Can FIFA ever fully regain the trust of football fans? I'll see you in the next one.